Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, this is my post-Fancy Farm report to you, and please watch it all because I'm going to give you some truthful observations and facts about Fancy Farm. Not only about Fancy Farm in general, but this weekend. First and foremost, they refuse to allow me to speak. Now, when you say, who are they? There's this committee from the St. Jerome Catholic Church led by Steve Elder, who's really the person calling the shots. He didn't want me to speak. Now, what's wild about this is it just wasn't the constitutional officers. They allowed Savannah Maddox to speak. I was the only candidate for governor who wasn't allowed to speak. And I'm a serious candidate for governor. I'm the oldest candidate. I'm the wealthiest until Kelly Craft gets in the race. I have a well-organized campaign team. I have been working very hard. I've been traveling the state. I am a serious, credible candidate. In fact, I'm going to win. They're underestimating me, and I just love that. All across the state, people are telling me they're ready for something different. They like my style, they like my candor, they like my passion, they like my communication, they like my ability, they like my background, they like my policies, they like my personality, they like my genuineness. It doesn't exist in politics. I want to say a few more things. Daniel Cameron was vilified by the Democrats on the Breonna Taylor issue. And I am so proud of my team. By the way, it was about 11 o'clock. I was going to have to wait 3 more hours before there were going to be speakers. And I left. I campaigned at the Graves County Breakfast. I campaigned at Fancy Farm. We passed out materials. But I wasn't going to sit around and listen to people speak when I was allowed to speak. But I had about 20 supporters there, my core team, and they stuck around, and they were in the front row between the media and the Dems. And Daniel Cameron even looked at him and smiled and winked. My team stood up for Daniel Cameron when the Democrats tried to hurt him on the Breonna Taylor issue. You talk about having some class. The Deters supporters helped out Daniel Cameron in his hour of need. There was one person who is no longer a supporter of mine that was actually against Cameron that had one of my T-shirts on. That stuff happens in politics. She's not going to be allowed to wear that T-shirt again. Then there was the breakfast. We go over the Graves County breakfast. And the same speakers who speak at the Graves County breakfast didn't come over to Fancy Farm. And it's really mostly the same kind of people. And I wasn't allowed to speak there either. Both moderators mentioned my name. I left there too after politicking around. Got good responses too. You know, Fancy Farm, there's 2 kinds of people that attend Fancy Farm. The good people of St. Jerome's Catholic Church, who I have no issue with, and then everybody's a partisan politician. They bust people in for this thing. And by the way, folks, it's not a big crowd. In my estimation, there's only 1,000 people that are there to watch the speeches. That's it. Freedom Fest is 10 times the size of Fancy Farm. And the state media is all there. The state media. And these are all state speakers. We already know who they are. They're not mythical people. Stephen Elder. Stephen Elder is a banker for U.S. Bank, a wealth advisor, and he was wouldn't let me speak. He wouldn't let us have a table set up for our things, a banner up like everybody else did. He was so disrespectful. Then the clown comes over and asks me if he wants to go with him to meet his family. I said, no, Steve, I'm not going to meet your family. And just to let you know, I'm so insulted by Fancy Farm. I want the people. hope you saw my speech. I gave a speech on the back of a pickup truck at Fancy Farm where I said I went there for the people. Next August 5th, the same date as Fancy Farm, I will be hosting a Freedom Fest in Paducah with national speakers. So the people can come enjoy Freedom Fest in Paducah rather than, because they don't go to the clown show anyway. But I warned Stephen Elder and I warned that committee. You piss me off and you see what happens. This was hysterical. The Attorney General candidate, what's his name? Caldwell, I forget. I met him. You talk about a Republican yuck politician. He said they were a little concerned about what I might do at Fancy Farm. Ruckus. He goes, I don't know what ruckus means. I mean, hysterical. Well, I tell you what, I am going to hold a Freedom Fest the same time and show you what the people want. Savannah Maddox. Savannah Maddox, this is hysterical. I don't know if you all remember this or catch this. Savannah Maddox went after all the men. She played the woke Hillary, Elizabeth Warren, AOC card. She basically said, well, I'm a woman, so you should vote for me. That's what the liberals do. Savannah Maddox, baby, she laid it all down there. And then she announced that she had Thomas Massey's endorsement. Is that a shocker when Savannah Maddox is carrying on a fling with Chris McCain, his field rep? She's a little Thomas Massey groupie. She's not a leader. She's a Thomas Massey groupie. And I don't believe Thomas Massey voters will walk lockstep over to Savannah Maddox. Don't believe it for a New York minute. I want to explain the campaign or the news coverage. The Courier-Journal did a report about Fancy Farm where they say the highlights. They focused on Breonna Taylor. They focused on Booker running against Rand Paul. They focused on all the liberal stuff. They said they supported Michael Adams, who's hated now by the Republican Party, the Secretary of State. They focused on everything liberal. Now here is something that the Lexington Herald-Leader did. The Lexington Herald-Leader did a piece about how no one running for the Republican Party, they all dodged the question about the 2020 you-know-what, okay? I got texted by a reporter, I like him, his name Austin Horn, and I told Austin Horn what I believed. They run the story, and they don't mention what I said. In other words, I say what Trump voters and many of us Republicans think happened. The other Republican candidates are too chicken. And they don't mention me. And they say they all dodged the question. I didn't dodge the question. It's pretty funny, isn't it? The political class of the Democratic Party, the state media, is just a joke. And politicians, folks, are so yuck and untrustworthy. Let me give you an example of something that happened recently. Cooper Ryder, who we invited to Freedom Fest. We let him speak at Freedom Fest last year. We supported him when he ran. He loses. He's now running for treasurer. Cooper Ryder asks Wesley Deters down for lunch, and he says all these wonderful things and tells us all these things, and it was all a lie. It was all a lie. And that little Nimrod that asked me that question in Hart County, Nick Sorter, well, we found out on Friday this guy was arrested for burglary and menacing his ex-girlfriend in 2021. And I think there was a recent reoffend. And he's on probation, and his risk is moderate. I mean, this guy's a scary little freak. Nick Sorter. By the way, is there any coverage of that? No. Let me tell you why I'm going to win. I'm going to win because I've got the best message. No question about it. I'm the most transparent. I'm the best communicator with these voters of Kentucky. I fight for people. I care about them. The media is against me. The Republican establishment against me. They're all against me. What does that tell you? Does that sound a little bit like Trump? Not a little Trump-like, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's exactly what Trump deals with. I'm dealing with the exact same thing. Freedom Fest is coming September 10th. I can't wait. Let's make it a blowout and show them what the people like. A beautiful, free event, national speakers, not some cat-calling, media-generated. Watch. All those Kentucky press that covered Fancy Farm, they won't be at Freedom Fest. I don't care if they come, but you watch, they will not cover Freedom Fest. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.